Are here at the end, the bitter end. We are here for the season finale of Spartacus House of Ashur. Hail Caesar. Now, usually I would put this out a lot earlier, but yet I couldn't help it. This was the season finale, and I usually wait to the end to start off with my thoughts, but we're at the end, so we're going to do things a little different. To be straight up, I'm going to start off with saying I was actually disappointed at first. When I first seen the season finale of House of Ashur, I was disappointed. They deviated from history. I didn't I didn't understand the understand the dynamic. I didn't understand the point of them deviating from history. But this is an alternate history all in itself, right? Is this alternate history where Asher does not fall on Mount Vesuvius, where his spear takes the life of Spartacus. So why not? If you're gonna deviate from history, fuck it. Go balls to the wall, go hard, and that's exactly what they did. So let's not waste any more time. Let's get to the bitter end of House of Ashur. Hail Caesar, season finale, episode 10. So the episode opens with coins being put on Gabinius' eyes for safe passage in through the underworld. Citizens are gathered from the house of Gabinius paying their respect. And Asher is there and he's offered some words of comfort and he sees Viridia. And that's when we first meet Gabinius Service, Gabinius's brother who now is the pathofamilia of this house. And he asks, why is your slave standing here in regards to Asher? So he is very, we've seen it throughout the series that they're very Roman heavy, but Servius Gabinius takes things to a whole nother level, to a point where he told the guards to escort Asher to the back so he won't be seen in public view. And Viridia quickly defends him, and she stops him for a moment. And Viridia breaks words for him, and she lets him know that she is on his mind. And they finally embrace. Viridia and Asher finally embraced for that kiss that we've been waiting for all season long. Asher returns to announce funeral games, and he appears abandoned as Proculus once in the episode, and he is feeling the weight of all the decisions. It's interesting. You have to be careful what you ask for, or more, you have to be specific about what you ask for and how it comes about, because Asher is getting all the things that he asked for, but he did not predict how they would come about. Messia presses Hilaria about the opium and about her giving her and about her giving Pompey the opium, which ultimately led to him taking the life of Gabinius. Shout out to everybody that's out there that joined me for this live. We're here for the series finale of House of Ashur. Doctori continues to give Achillia tips and trades, and he is preparing her for the battle with the Scythian. And Tarchon steps in and lends an unexpected aid. He uses the style of Diamacharis, and he's starting to lean into his father's styles. He's really starting to lean into his father lessons now that he's not here. And we cut to also the Scythian training. And what I really like about this is we find out some things about Proculus. Proculus is not just a lanista, because he grabs a sword, he grabs a shield, and he says, let me test. It's been a long time since I've been absent contests a long time. Let me see where I remember from war and adventure. And he starts to train with the Scythian. So we cut back to Viridia and Cassudia, and they're in the baths together, and they're discussing, their future. They're discussing what just happened, and so uncomfortably, Servius disgustingly joins them, and you can see it that Kasudia is just like, listen, this is inappropriate. You can have the baths, and he's just like, no, like he's just like, no, I will join you. I am the proper familia of this house, and isn't this what I deem appropriate? And this is what I love Viridia, because Viridia is just like, I'm not having it, and she's basically saying that they have to go down to the market to get some outfits for the funeral games, and he's like, oh, I have to accompany. She's like, we don't need no company, we don't need no male escorts to go down there, and he is just, he clearly comes from a household where the men literally run everything, because he even comments how Gabinius, his brother, how he's been how he's been lack on the order of the house, and he will see to its correction. And Gabinius just did not have a leash on them, as Viridia alluded to. Like, we don't need a leash, we don't need an escort to go shopping and to go do X and to do Y and to do Z. So we cut back to Cornelia and Caesar, and Cornelia is saying to Caesar how the Syrian has proved unexpectedly useful as Ashur enters in stage right, and gratitude. I yet live to serve, as Ashur says, walking in. And he speaks on a deal that he strikes with Caesar, halting the union with Viridia and Pompey. And he is to be rewarded with the arena and be in control of it. And I quote, Caesar says, and upon my life, you shall have seen it to deserve it reward. Remember that line. And upon my life, you shall see it to deserve it reward. As they are about to engage in some freaky deaky Roman things. That's all I can say. Because listen, as Caesar is basically dismissing Ashur and said, see, that we'll speak about Gabinius another day, fall from sight. Messia comes with two other body slaves, and they both have dildos on them. And when I tell you that Caesar just looks enthralled, he looks like he is just, all his attention is focused on Messia and the other two body slaves with dildos on them. My doggy wants to get in. My doggy wants to get into the live. Hi, doggy. Hi, doggy. All right. So Ashur finally goes and he rewards Achilea with the champion cell. And here's my thing. And so Achilea also pressed him about this. And I was wondering the same thing. What took you so long to give her the champion cell? You had you had your champion sleeping on the floor with an injured hand and all that. What you been doing, bruh? What you been doing, Ashur? What you been doing, bruh? So we cut back to training, and Tarkhan continues to push Achilea in preparation for the battle with the Scythian. And what I really like about this is that they're giving her advice in real time. Like, you have two ends of the spear. You also have a small guard. It can be used as a defensive, and it's also as an offensive weapon. Use it. We cut back to get down. All right, doggies, you're doing too much. Cornelia is finally leaving for Rome, and you can just see all the enjoyment on Ashur's face. And Ashur says, if you ever come back to Capua, my house is yours. And Cornelia is like, please do not join. Do not dampen mood. Do not dampen mood with such terrible news. So the thought of coming back to the house of Ashur is just like, she does not like that at all. So Doctori broaches the subject of getting Alata for Tarkhan, who was helping with the training of Achilea. And Ashur is about to dismiss him, but then Doctori brings up the fact that, Tarkhan is still dealing with the loss of Calidus, and he is assisting and helping Achilea. And that's when you can see that there's a soft spot, because like I said earlier, like I alluded to earlier, Ashur is still very much bearing the weight for his hand in literally his hand in the losing of good Gabinius. So he allows Tarkhan to see Alata. And Ashur, and Chorus even Chorus comments on the fact that Asher has not been his usually sarcastic, frustrated self, and Asher, heavy with thought, brushes him off, and he allows for such union to to take place. We cut to Asher, and Asher tells Chorus of Crassus' plan to rebuild the arena, and he informs him that, with his new responsibility with heading the arena, that he is not going to have the time to deal with the drudgery of being a lanista and all that toil behind it. And Chorus asks him, well, are you going to sell it? And he says, no. Yet we soar beyond the tether of imagination, severing it in service of what we will become. And he says that in respects to Lud and Chorus know that he will not be selling the Ludus, that in fact that he will be giving the Lanista, he will be giving the title of Lanista to Chorus, and he will be the new Lanista of, I guess it wouldn't be the House of Ashur, it would be the House of Chorus. Tarkhan is, so we cut to Alara, who was with Tarkhan, and what's interesting in this series, we see a lot of people's words being used against him, and in scenes off screen, Tarkhan has clearly spoken about his father and how he disapproves of their relationship and their disappointing eye. And now he's realizing in his father's death that it's not so much that he disapproved of the girl. He's seen that Alata was a distraction to him. And Alata, says that, your overbearing father is no longer here, and now you can go for the arena. And he's remembering all these things that his father says to him, and he's just like, you know what? He never says the words, it's just great acting. He looks at her and he's just like, yeah, this is not what I want. This is not what I need. And he dismisses her. So he is starting to honor his father in word, in deed. So I love that for him. As they are leaving, Cornelia is taking her things, and Asher denies rumination for Messia as Messia looks back with almost regret. Because now remember, Cornelia is leaving to go back to Rome, and she has taken Messia with her. And right before Messia gets on the cart to go with Cornelia, she looks back at Hilaria, and she most definitely has this look of regret. I mean, they were friends. She wanted to be lovers. She said her heart will always be hers. And now she's leaving this house, and presumably, they will never see each other again. We're not sure what's going to happen next season, but for now, it's left on they will never see each other again. So Severus, so now we're at the Primus, we're at the games, and we're at the Pulvinus, and Asher's up there, and everybody's about to sit down. And first off, he basically forces Cornelia and Casudia to sit by him, even though Viridia does not like to be up front with the games because she doesn't like the blood. It reminds her of her husband that she lost to Senior Western Valley due to Spartacus, right? And so he basically forces him to sit next to him. And as he is about to take his seat, he's going over the games. He says, oh, I got so caught up in my affairs, I forgot to send a message that I have deemed for more appropriate replacement. So what's his name? Copernicus of Pompeii. Asher will still get a place. Achillea will still get a place in a Primus, but all of his men were supposed to be fighting throughout the day. So that's all crazy within himself. And then Asher is actually about to take a seat in a Pulvinus, and that's when Servius says to him, only Romans are allowed in a Pulvinus. And that's when Viridia says, well, father often invited Asher to sit up here with us. He's a Lanista. And then that's when he says, well, I'm not your father. And then he used her words against her. I will speak the truth for those who are not feared to hear it. So again, we see somebody using their words against them. And yeah, it's just disgusting. He's just disgusting. But we do get some light in this, which is really cool. We get like a montage. First off, uh, Servius reintroduces himself back to the people of Capua because he has been absent their sight many years. And there is a montage of bloody battles throughout the day leading up to the Primus. Asher and Viridia are exchanging glances from the seat in the arena back up to the pole. And this is very interesting. Asher having done everything that he's done this season with gaining position, with the Primus, with having a champion, with on the cusp of getting the arena built back up and controlling it, that we find ourselves back in not even a 180. This is a complete 360 because he is ending back where he started. He finds himself back in the crowd with with Hilaria, looking at the Warriors in the arena. Like I said, there is a bloody montage of battles throughout the arena. And then we get to the co-main event. We get to Galita and Satiris, Little Man, and they take to the sands to face the Hammer of Gods. And this is an awesome, epic, bloody fight. But in the end, it is Satiris and Galita. And what I really love about this episode is they had a lot of wrestling moves in this match, man. Galita did a Hurricane Rana. We see a V trigger. We see we see a bloody Sunday. So if you know, you know. There's a lot of different wrestling moves in this match. And at the end of the match, when Galita and Satiris wins, she looks at him and says, "Tonight's Little Man, I'm going to fuck you." And he responds, "And I'm going to let you." Oh, that was fucking ace, man. Just great writing and a really fun moment. And before we get to the main event of the Primus, Asher goes and he seeks words with Achilea. And Asher hasn't really been too vocal over his last couple of days. He's been dealing with the death of Gabinius and his hand in it. He's been heavy, and the whole house has felt his weight. So this was the first time in a long time that Asher came to Achilles and was like, Asher was being Asher. He said, all those people up there, they think this house is a jest. They think you are a jest. Go out there and prove them wrong and fuck that cunt in the fucking ground. And it got him all fired up. He put that battery in her back. And what I loved about this, I didn't peep this until the second time I watched the episode. Achilles steps out and she is fully adripped and adorned in her Spartacus outfit. And I know that sounds crazy. The show is named Spartacus, but she has the feminine, the woman version of Spartacus outfit, complete with the shield with the red fucking serpent on it. I was almost in doubt of her victory because I didn't know where the season was gonna go. I was almost in doubt of her victory. But once I seen that red serpent on that shield, I already know that she was going to embrace her fate or be destroyed by it. And Achilea embraced fucking fate and got her revenge, her vengeance for Calidus. It was a bloody fight. I'm not going to go by it play by play. Just go, if you're a Spartacus fan, go out your way to see it. It was a badass fight. But what I love at the end, she stabs her in the foot, slashes her in the stomach, takes the sword, cocks it back, punches her in the mouth with it. So the sword, so the shield is literally in her mouth, and she takes it and kicks it, literally takes the fucking Scythian's head off. It was an awesome, awesome, awesome fight. It was one of the best fights throughout the entire series. Not even just House of Ashur. And Spartacus has had a lot of badass fights. This was definitely in the top of one of the fights. And Achilea still stands champion of fucking Capua in the House of Ashur. So, and as soon as she wins, this is a sign of Spartacus, you hear thunder, you see lightning, and the rain starts to flow. Tarchon and Achilea finally find common ground. We're in Achillea's cell, and he's asking her, and he's kind of poking fun at her, like, I'm still at your back, champion, and I'm coming I'm coming for your spot. And she's like, I thought we had found common ground on us. And he said, well, if you weren't champion, wouldn't you want to be champion? And he asked her, he broached the subject, what's next? And she says that she wants to win her freedom in the arena, and she wants to go back to the land of Cush. And when he asks her, she tells her about his father, and he asks her, would she go to take his life? And that's when her hand starts. So we never got an answer to that. Her hand starts to hurt because the wrap is wrapped too tight. And he goes to grab her hand because he says, hey, listen, my father, I used to wrap my father's bandages as a child. And he's grabbing her hand, and they look eye to eye, and then they embrace, and he kisses her. He kisses her for about 2 seconds, and she pushes him off him. And then he feels rejected, so he moves back and says, apologies, and he goes to walk away. And Achilles kind of just attacks him, and it's just that you can cut this sexual tension with a sword. Both of them are in mourning, and they embrace, and that was a very passionate sex scene. That was an extremely passionate sex scene. And then we cut to, like I said, it was raining earlier, and it's still raining. But Caesar looks to make a move, even though the rain is just coming down like crazy. And Caesar, and Ashur's like, well, why don't you wait? But while you're here, let's broach subject about artisans for the arena. And I was thinking about getting them from Neapolis and Pompeii, and that's when Caesar says there's no need for that. And Ashur was just like, why? Has Crassus already secured men for the arena? And that's when you almost sense that something's up, because Caesar just turns around and said there's no need for that. And that's because Crassus has decided that on a whim, and in place of costly arena, he is going to set villas to be sold and rented. And Ashur, obviously surprised, just like, what do you mean? Wasn't a deal struck? If I halted union, then I will get control of the arena. And Crassus is just like, yes, we are grateful for what you've done. And that's when I knew it was about to go down, because that's when Ashur said, you're grateful. You're fucking grateful. And Caesar says, do not adapt that tone with me. And Ashur says, do not adopt that. He goes off and he calls him a fucking cunt, and then Caesar backhands him. He spits out blood. He spits out a big pile of blood. Hilaria comes over there, and Ashur says, no, go. Don't worry about this. And when he tells her to go, I'm pretty sure that's when he made the decision. That's when he made the decision to, I'm just going to fuck Caesar up. And that's exactly what I mean. These two went back and forth, fist, sword. And Ashur had Caesar's robe wrapped around his neck, and that's when his guards came in, and Caesar ordered his guards to try to kill Ashur. Ashur, don't get it twisted, Ashur is a former gladiator. He may be the lowest amongst the brotherhood, but he was still amongst the brotherhood. Takes out the two guard. Him and Caesar are going back and forth. Caesar kicks him down in the water. Caesar gets the advantage for a second, and then they're like at a test of strength. Ashur grabs the sword, boom, smacks it right up against his head. But he actually ends up losing his sword. He picks up like a staff or something. He's fighting Caesar with the staff. He gets the advantage. And like I said, there's plenty of wrestling moves in this particular episode. Fucking Ashur grabs him. If you know, you know. Hits Caesar with a bloody Sunday. Stands on top. You know what I'm saying? Hits him with a bloody Sunday. They both get on top. Caesar goes to stab him. Ashur grabs his hand, boom, stabs him right in the fucking gut. Stands on top of him, bashes Caesar head in, and says, "Hail Caesar." And that is the bloody conclusion of Spartacus House of Ashur, the season finale. Now, I want to give a shout out to all the writers. I want to give a shout out to the executive producer, Stephen D. Knight. He's the one that wrote this particular episode. I thought this entire season was fantastic. In some ways, the House of Ashur was better than the OG Spartacus. Don't get it twisted. I love the OG Spartacus. That's one of my favorite shows of all time. Watching the House of Ashur and watching the OG Spartacus, it was still heavy driven, but Spartacus is plot driven. To me, the House of Ashur is character driven. So no matter what you did in Spartacus, you always had to come around to Spartacus leading the rebellion, him going against Rome, and that. With the House of Ashur, you're not bound to those rules. So there's so many different ways that you can go with it. And with the House of Ashur, they had to take their time. The fight scenes felt more special because they were farther and few in between, and the fight scenes meant more. There was a lot of fight scenes in Spartacus. Not saying it didn't mean anything, but that's what they relied on more. The more of the sex scenes, more of the fight scenes. And in the House of Ashur, it was character driven. They really had to rely on the dialogue more because the sex scenes and the fight scenes were far fewer in between. And it was a slower burn. And I think for some Spartacus fans, that was a hard thing for take because the OG Spartacus series, there is story. Don't get it twisted. Don't get it twisted for one single solitary second, Jack. There is story. There is plot. But we ultimately know where it's going. With the House of Ashur, we had no idea. We would just sat back and we had no history to draw back on. There were historical things going on around, but we didn't know how this would affect the overall arch and plot of our main characters, of our protagonists. So at first, I will admit I was disappointed with the conclusion of the House of Ashur, but now that I thought about it, this is an alternate timeline. So of course, listen, like I said, if you're gonna deviate from history, fuck it, go big. Why not? So I loved it. I'm so excited for season 2. Stephen D. Knight said that he's already written season 2, and that he already has an outline for 4 to 5 seasons and other Spartaverse series out there, depending on how this show does it. So go watch the show. Go stream it 1,000 times. We need a season 2. And I'm going to go ahead and speak this into existence. I'm going to go ahead and speak this into the universe. House of Ashur will definitely get a season 2. We'll get a season 3. And somewhere out there in the Spartaverse, and you can clip this, you can tag this, your boy, Richie Moon, will be in the Spartaverse. You heard it live and direct. With that being said, all of you who have watched any of my streams from this Spartacus saga, gratitude to you. It has been a pleasure. It has been wonderful. I do not want to sour occasion with tempestuous mood. But, this is the season finale, so this is it. Let's pray to the gods that this is not the series finale. But with that being said, for everybody that watched any of my streams, gratitude to you. You truly honor me. Peace, love, and light. That has been the end of season 1 of Spartacus House of Ashur. Pray to the gods that we will back for season 2. But if not, please like, share, and subscribe. The Richie Moon Show, Moon's Eye View. I do a podcast. I do a vlog. I got The Secret Life of Dog. And you know what? I'm going to go back, and more than likely, I'm going to just do the entire series because I love Spartacus that much. I'm going to go ahead and just do the entire series. But with that being said, peace, love, and light. Thank you for all those who watch. You truly fucking honor me. Gratitude.